Hello, and welcome back to yet another episode. Today, we will be touching on the bliss body, what the bliss body is, and how essentially you can stay in a state of peace and bliss all the time. I think it's safe to say that with all the crazy things that are happening in the world around us all the time, wouldn't we want to be able to not become so overburdened and destabilized by the challenges that are happening around us all the time? So this video here will really highlight how you can start to develop being more in a state of constant joy, bliss, and peace, regardless of what is happening in your world, both internally and externally. So we talk about this through our own experience, of course, as we have been on a journey of many, many years of healing our pains, healing our traumas, overcoming our limitations and challenges, and really connecting with the life that we really, really desire. Because how many of us are wanting to be over here, but yet we find ourselves over here? And it's not because of a lack of trying to get to where it is that we want to get to. We set those goals and we set those intentions, and we recently had the new year, so people set new year resolutions all the times, but they question, why is it that they can't seem to stay committed? What is it that doesn't allow them to stay on course? So we really like to share all kinds of tips and tricks and information that will help you better understand what your limitations are and how you can overcome them.
Yes. So I would like to take it to what it is that makes up the bliss body. Because the bliss body is made up of different aspects of who we are, different bodies we call them. And those are the physical body, the emotional body, the mental body, spiritual body, and energetic body. And that together forms the bliss body. When all of those are working together congruently, when they're in harmony, when there's not one which is being left behind, when everything is working in together, then we achieve this bliss body. We move into this bliss body. It's more of a state of being as well as a state of mind, but it's really more of a state of being when your internal landscape is no longer fluctuating and no longer dependent on what is happening on the external. So you can move through life knowing that your inner harmony, your inner peace stays intact. Now, how do we begin this? So from our own personal experience, it's the physical that we began with, because the physical is tangible. It's where you can see the quickest results, so to speak. But all of this knowing and understanding that everything is energy. And so it is what we change energetically, which creates a change on the physical. But it is the physical that we are able to see. So at the very beginning, to start making changes on your physical seems to be the easiest route to go by. And so we focused a lot on just getting the physical body healthy and ensuring that we were getting the right foods, the right sleep, the right exercise, etc., etc., which is its journey unto itself. And that opens up a whole new can of worms, so to speak. For example, you might want to get, fitter, but you have something in your mental space which is not allowing you to be consistent, or is holding you back somehow, or is making you traîner les pieds, is making you I can't find the word in English.
I think what you're trying to say is, how many people set goals, but for whatever reason, they can't stick to it. It becomes difficult to find the motivation. It finds difficult to find the willpower to even stay committed. And it's not, that there's a deep desire to accomplish these things, but there's something that you can't quite pinpoint as to why you just can't stick to it. And a lot of time this is connected to our will, which is very much connected to our mindset. And so I think we can then transition onto the mental state, where having the right mindset to accomplishing our goals and reaching what it is that we desire most in our life becomes more easy.
Absolutely. Lagging your feet is what I was getting at. So the mental body, now we have to start looking at it as to how it is that we're speaking to ourselves. What is the tone of voice that we're using? What is the main general theme that is continuously playing out in our mind, in your mind? Is it constructive? Is it comforting? Is it soul destroying? Is it disempowering somehow? Does it make you feel safe? Does it make you feel at ease or not? Just start pinpointing what these general thought patterns are, because they are habitual patterns, they are mental habits, and without illuminating them first, we cannot change them. The awareness here, the superpower, is your awareness. Once we start grasping the general themes and the general tone of voice that we are speaking to ourselves in, now we can start identifying the ones which are really causing us to create blockages and to feel limited, and start changing them, because a belief is just that. It's a belief. It's nothing which is set in stone. And with the right tools and with the right internal mechanisms in place, changing a belief or shifting a belief, it becomes quite easy and almost fun, and on some level, because that's when you start noticing the changes which are happening in your external. Once you start having that habit of changing the internal landscape in terms of your belief and your thought patterns, which then influences your emotional body.
So, just to add on to what you said there about the mental, is what's interesting is that the brain cannot actually differentiate based on something that's going on in your mind versus something that's actually happening in reality. So if you're constantly worrying about something that isn't even happening, your brain is going to interpret that as something that is actually happening, because the brain is hardwired to protect us. And so this is why it's so important to become aware of what we are thinking unconsciously, because a lot of the time when we say, we want to be here and yet we're here, a lot of the time we're unconsciously thinking things that are blocking us or limiting us from being here. And as Celine said, this is very much connected to our emotions, because most of us are hardwired to think negatively. So negative thoughts will generate negative emotions, which then generates negative actions. Because let's just remember that if you're thinking, oh, I'm a shit person or I'm not good enough all the time, then that's going to bring up feelings or emotions of sadness or
Shame.
shame, or feelings of just not being good enough, or feelings of anger, or feelings of being less than. And of course, as a result of constantly feeling those things, when emotions are energy in motion. So the reason that we know that we're feeling an emotion is because we'll have a physical sensation in our body. So think about when you're worrying about something really bad, you tend to have maybe a tightness in the chest, maybe somebody gives you a bout of bad news, your tummy drops, it just doesn't really feel good. So you can imagine people who are in a constant state of stress and worry, and a chronic state of stress and worry, what happens is that you're activating the fight or flight response within your body, and you're activating a lot of the stress hormones to be overstimulated, which then leads to all kinds of physical ailments, diseases, and health issues. Which is why, as Celine said, starting off with the physical body is the easiest place to start, because when we are doing this work, sometimes it can feel like nothing is actually happening. So when we start off with the body, at least improving our health and trying to feel at least better in our body, that is going to actively have an impact on how we feel mentally as well as emotionally.
Yes. And most of us are afraid of feeling the discomfort, of feeling the uncomfortable feelings. It's, we're happy to feel joy and fun and pleasure and all of those positive things. But when it comes to the negative things, I do that in quote because there really isn't a positive or negative. It simply is energy. And we have defined them as negative or positive, but it is an energy in motion, which is simply there to be felt. And so the trick here, or the tool here, is to be willing to feel first and foremost, knowing that it is simply an energy which is required, which is requiring to be felt so that the loop can be completed. And then to take the time to actually sit with your feelings. And when you build this habit, it happens much faster. The looping completes itself. But also there's a mechanism which shifts inside of you where you're no longer, so to speak, afraid of your negative feelings. You embrace them, knowing that inside of them, or on the other side of having felt them, you're going to gain more clarity, you're going to gain more insight, you're going to see things differently, which is going to take you down another path or open up a new doorway. And so a little bit of an exercise is to practice feeling where the emotion is being felt inside of your body, sensorially, sensationally, with your senses. So does it feel tingly? Does it feel hot? Does it feel heavy? Where is it in your body? Can you locate it in your body? Does it move? Does it expand? Is it shrinking? And just keep following whatever shows up for you, however it is coming forth for you, however it's presenting itself. Just be with that, and something will shift for you.
Absolutely. I think that's a great way to then transition into the energetic body. And I think the energy body and the emotional body are kind of part and parcel, one of the other, in that, as we said, emotions are energy in motion. And a lot of the time, we talk about energy all the time, in that we say, oh, I don't have the energy to do this or that. And a lot of the time, human beings are kind of like a battery, where there are certain things that we do that will add energy to us, and there are certain things that we do that will deplete our energy. So one of the ways that you can ensure that you are not being overwhelmed by the challenges that are happening around you, and staying in that state of bliss and state of peace regardless of what is happening, is by focusing on activities and experiences that boost your energy. And so really becoming more aware of your thoughts and your emotions is really the biggest part, because we don't realize how, when we're always stuck in those loop of negative thinking, generating negative emotions, that really drains us. Sorry, you wanted to say something?
I did, thank you. I wanted to add there, just to what you were saying, to be careful also, or to be aware of what it is that you are consuming. Again, it comes back to the senses. So what are you looking at? What are the videos? What is calling your attention in terms of sight? That is a repetitive habit. What you're listening to in terms of your music. What are you feeding yourself? What is the environment that you find yourself in on a daily basis? All of these things play into how you feel about yourself, how you feel in your life, and how you express yourself authentically.
Absolutely. And this kind of makes me want to touch a little bit on health, because at the end of the day, we love to say health is wealth, because if you don't have your health, then you've really got nothing at all, because you can be the richest person in the world, and if you're not healthy, well, that money is really not going to get you anywhere. And so we really talk about preventative medicine and doing things, building a lifestyle that is really working to prevent any kind of illness, disease, health issue of any kind. And so really all of these tips that we're giving you here is also helping you to improve your overall health. But, in today's world, when we talk about health, a lot of the time we only focus on the physical body. We say, yeah, you need to sleep enough, you need to exercise, you need to eat the right foods, but it goes so much more than that, because there are people who are vegetarian and who exercise who still get cancer, because most people tend to totally omit the effect that our emotions have on our physical body. And so I work very much with the nervous system and the lymphatic system, two important systems that we don't really talk about enough, that really regulate a major portion of how well and how functional and how and how regulated we are in the world. And so, I would love to hear from you in the comments, which of these bodies out of the physical, mental, emotional, energetic, and spiritual body do you feel that you have totally omitted? Because we're not taught enough about these other bodies, and they are just as much of a part of us as the physical body, because we also often forget that it is these non-tangible bodies that affect the physical body. Because just think about it this way, what generates actions? It's a thought that I have in my mind. If I want to move my hand, there is a signal that is being sent from my brain through my nervous system towards my hand so that it can move. But if I am I can't see that signal that's being sent. But in order for me to take action, in order for me to do something, it all starts off with what's happening in my mental and emotional space. So let us know, where are you feeling the lack of health and wealth in your life? Which of these bodies have you been totally omitting, and which of these bodies do you feel that you want to focus on more moving forward?
Thank you. I think we forgot a little bit there just to touch on the spiritual. So the spiritual body is really what encapsulates all of them, because we come from the premise that we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we've forgotten that. And that is not coming into religion, that is spiritual. And what that means is connecting to something bigger than your small I, bigger than your ego, bigger than all these concepts and the personalities and the identities that we are wearing. Once we have that connection to something bigger, it allows us to feel freer, to feel more secure somehow, to feel more also grounded in this physicality, knowing more stable, exactly, more at home being here. And a lot of us, I know, struggle with this thing of not feeling at home here because we don't feel like we fit in, or it feels to something for us, whether it's too violent or too evil or whatever it may be. And so this struggle of feeling at home also comes into play when these bodies are out of balance or are not working congruently together. And the home within is really where we stem our safety from. That's where it comes from. The safety and security that comes with being okay with who you are.
And yes, just as we come towards closing out this video for today, I just really want to highlight how ignoring any of these bodies that we've discussed here today is what leads to the development of coping mechanisms. Now, I just want to highlight, not put any of you on the spot out there, but a lot of the time, these omitting paying attention to these bodies is a totally unconscious thing. We haven't been educated about how to live healthy lives. We haven't really been given the tools of how to move through this world, or how our bodies, our multiple bodies function. And so as a result of, not really paying attention to our mental state of being, not paying attention to our emotional state of being, etc., this can lead to the development of coping mechanisms. And so if you're someone who has set a goal for yourself and have tried and are not getting there and are really trying to understand why, really starting to look to these different parts of you will help you understand what is the underlying issue. Because a lot of the time when people try and work towards getting towards their goals, they focus on the wrong issue. So we really are here to help you identify the root cause of the issue, so you can work on that specific thing, as opposed to working on fixing all the symptoms of that root cause issue.
Yes, I like that. Thank you very much. I think we're going to end the video here today. Thank you very much for being with us, for partaking in this video, and we look forward to hearing your thoughts, reading your comments, and seeing you in the next video.